Hi everyone, this is Cherry Enchantress with another book from my life-changing book series. This one, I was accidentally about to say life saving, life-saving book series, but no. And this one could be one of the lifesavers. But before I do this, I have to say, look at this beautiful new table that I got. It's so pretty. This is my first, it's a rustic table, but it was bought at an antique store. And I never buy antiques, so it was really exciting to buy an antique yesterday. I bought two antique tables. One to stack up all my new collection of oracle cards, and this one as a little extra desk. Let me see if I can stand this up just a little higher. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to read a little bit from this book to you because what I love so much, like a lot of things, I like the combination of astrology and psychology. And here we go again with astrology and psychology. Okay, so it's like a little love story. Well, let me read this sleeve here. Once upon a time, Martians and Venusians met. Yeah, this is the love story. Fell in love and had happy relationships together because they respected and accepted their differences. Then they came to Earth, and amnesia set in. They forgot they were from different planets. Using this metaphor to illustrate the commonly occurring conflicts between men and women, Dr. John Gray explains how these differences can come between the sexes and prohibit mutually fulfilling loving relationships. Based on years of successful counseling of couples and individuals, he gives advice on how to counteract these differences in communication styles, emotional needs, and modes of behavior to promote a greater understanding between individual partners. So, yes, this is very helpful. Whether you're in a relationship or not, it's just plain helpful to understand, if you're a woman, to understand man and vice versa, and then understand what goes on when you're communicating with the opposite sex. Like sometimes we just don't even understand, why is he reacting this way, and so on. So here's our some men are from Mars, Mr. Fix-It, how to motivate. Now, it may seem slightly manipulative, and I guess it can be considered that. I don't, it's ways to, but for me, bottom line, it's ways to communicate more efficiently, effectively. We can say all the things that we want, but there's certain ways to say things we want and do things, get reactions that we want by the way we act. And it only takes a little bit of modification on our part, not too much. I know reading this, though, initially I was really frustrated. I was like, why do we have to do all this, Why can't they do it? But, yeah, it's both, both sides. They get into both sides. But I want to read this little story first. Well, not this story. This one's cute, though. The dialogue between men and women. And that's another reason why I liked Linda Goodman's Love Sign, because there's a lot of dialogue, and it just kind of shows how we react to each other as humans, as people, but also as men and women, and as the weirdos that we're stamped as, what comes with our DNA and whatever, what we're carry over. Okay, this is what I think I wanted to read. Imagine that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. One day long ago, the Martians, looking through their telescopes, discovered the Venusians, just glimpsing The Venusians awakened feelings they had never known. They fell in love and quickly invented space travel and flew to Venus. The Venusians welcomed the Martians with open arms. They had intuitively known that this day would come. Their hearts opened wide to love they had never felt before. The love between Venusians and Martians was magical. They delighted in being together, doing things together, and sharing together. Though from different worlds, they reveled in their differences. They spent months learning about each other, exploring and appreciating their different needs, preferences, and behavior patterns. For years, they lived together in love and harmony. Then they decided to fly to Earth. In the beginning, everything was wonderful and beautiful, but the effects of Earth's atmosphere took hold, and one morning, everyone woke up with a peculiar kind of amnesia. Selective amnesia. Both the Martians and Venusians forgot that they were from different planets and they were supposed to be different. In one morning, everything they had learned about their differences was erased from their memory, and since that day, men and women have been in conflict. Remembering our differences. Without the awareness that we are supposed to be different, men and women are at odds with each other. We usually become angry or frustrated with the opposite sex because we have forgotten this important truth. We expect the opposite sex to be more like ourselves. We desire them to want what we want and feel the way we feel. We mistakenly assume that if our partners love us, they will react and behave in certain ways, the ways we react and behave when we love someone. This attitude sets us up to be disappointed again and again and prevents us from taking the necessary time to communicate lovingly about our differences. Men mistakenly expect women to think, communicate, and react the way men do. Women mistakenly expect men to feel, communicate, and respond the way women do. We have forgotten that men and women are supposed to be different. As a result, our relationships are filled with unnecessary friction and conflict. Clearly recognizing and respecting these differences dramatically reduce confusion when dealing with the opposite sex. When you remember that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, everything can be explained. But I might go on a little bit more, but I just want to say that this is definitely general. There are women out there that have more of a masculine way of thinking, according to these patterns in this book, and vice versa. There's men out there that have more of the feminine cycles of thinking, of feeling. But in general, it just uses for like the divine, as in the divine masculine, divine feminine, the ultimate male-female counterparts. But definitely, whatever you feel you resonate with in this book, the male or the female, the man or the woman, it's fine, because usually you're going to be attracted to that opposite anyway, and you're going to have to figure out how to communicate with them. So throughout the book, they talk about differences. So this is by authors John Gray, and if you can't get the book or don't want to, there's lots of YouTube videos out there. He does a lot of seminars and lectures and lots of guest appearances, different shows and stuff, and he talks about his book, and he has quite a big series. This is not the only book he has. He has a bunch of books out there. It breaks things down on, men's traditional roles and desires and wants and needs, and women's traditional desires, wants, and needs. But I think one of the main important thing to know about men is when men have a problem. A lot of times it's like work related. They come home, there's this problem that they have to figure out. when they have a problem, they can't talk to you, they need to go in their cave. They need space. They need time, separate time to figure it out, to fix it, to think it through, to come up with a solution. Then when they're done with that, then they can come out and be active in your life again or whatever. Also, another interesting pattern that men have that I've noticed that is mentioned in the book is this, like, they'll be lovey-dovey and close to you, and little by little they withdraw a little more, and it's like the rubber band effect. They pull back, and then, you almost don't even feel them at all, and then suddenly they spring forward again, and then they begin this lovey-dovey stuff again. This is a hard, difficult cycle for us to deal with, especially when we're in our cycle. Our cycle is more like going up and down a hill. Like, we go down, and then we go into this well, and then we're like at the bottom of this well where it's just the worst feeling. We feel that's almost kind of like depression, but it's just, we could use a good hug right there, and we could use some understanding, some TLCs, some just attention. But, and if we get it, that's great. That helps us work our way out of the well. But if we don't, we have to work our way out of the well anyway. And we go up, and then we reach our peak again, and we're all good. And whether good things happen to us or bad things happen to us, at the peak we're going to have a pretty good outlook on life. When we're in the bottom of the well, it's harder for us to have a good outlook on life. So it's kind of tricky when both people are going through if he's going through his pullback moment and you're going through your bottom of the well moment, it's going to be a sort of a conflicting situation. So there's a whole lot of explanations on that kind of thing and how to work your way through these things. I'll tell you, one of the thing they mention is like when women are going through that, going into the well business, and the man's not around to help you out, then you got to rely on your girlfriends. Basically, got to go out. You get, hang out with them, talk to them. They will. Talking to girlfriends releases oxytocin, which is a good chemical that helps you feel better again. So that's really oxytocin, and if you release that chemical, that helps. Scientifically, psychologically, but also spiritually. We all know like lots of great ways to get through these low cycles in our life is meditation, affirmations, listening to healing music, things like that can help you get through those moments in your life. If there's no people around that can like cheer you up or whatever, you can watch comedy and go out to the movies, pamper yourself, things like that. Be your best friend, love yourself, and also find people that will be nice to you. So, and then those are some like key things to help work on that. And then another thing that I thought was interesting, some motivations, is the point system. We have this sort of subconscious point system that we give each other. And men are generally much more generous in giving us points, and they give us points that last longer too. Like for everything we give them, everything has about a 1 point value, and they don't add up, and so things like that. It's just kind of like really interesting. This is kind of cool the way women might say things and the way men might hear it. If a woman says we never go out, the man will respond like that. And we're it's not exactly what we're trying to say, and they're not taking it the way we wanted them to take it. And so there's different ways, different wording. Like an interesting word that I didn't think would mean anything is would and could. Could you do this for me? to a man supposedly sounds negative. Like it's like accusing him of not doing something. But if you say, "Would you do this for me?" it sounds more like a question to him, like saying, "Please." So just little things like that. I thought, okay, that's interesting. So these are kinds of things that I try to incorporate. A big one is the fact that men want to be, our heroes, and we can't, we keep taking their power away. We got to let them make the decisions and that they want to make for themselves. They know what's best for them. They know what's best for their families too. And of course, it takes two. I mean, a couple needs to decide together, a man, a husband and wife. Um, but there's so much taking the control away from a man, and that's hard on him. Anyway, here's the chapter about men are like rubber bands. Yeah. It's really interesting, and how women misinterpret men. And even though I know all of this, I still do it. It's so crazy, It's like, it's hard. It can be hard, but you try. You just try. You just gotta keep trying every time to open your mind up a little bit more, and to communicate the best way you can. And women are like waves, so that's what they're talking about. This hill, these rolling things up and down, kind of thing. And the women's self-esteem rises and falls like a wave. And it's so true. I mean, it's so true. And sometimes it can be related to our menstrual cycles, but if it's not, then we have these waves that are going up and down, and then we also have that to deal with too. So it's really fun to be a woman, isn't it? Anyway, but I think, bottom line, if a man does acknowledge that a woman is different than them, that right there helps a whole lot, And if a man appreciates a woman for being beautiful and different and unique and exotic and mysterious, that helps a whole lot too. And if a woman appreciates a man for being strong and efficient and a good provider and good at fixing things and coming up with solutions and things like that, being the knight in shining armor, then that will help him so much. Like, think of all the great things he does, and don't forget to mention them that often, like everything, because they need to know these things. And then, this kind of like why he doesn't feel love. She tries to improve his behavior or help him by offering men don't like advice, okay? It just makes him feel like she doesn't trust him. She tries to change or control his behavior by sharing her upset or negative feelings. It's okay to share feelings, but not when they attempt to manipulate or punish. He feels unloved because she doesn't accept him as he is. So on. These little things, just little things. It's both-sided, So when you see the man's side, or they explain the man's side, though it will also explain the woman's side. So this would be a great book to read with your significant other. I know a lot of times men don't like to read these kind of self-help kind of things. So you might rather watch a video instead. And then my little tip, I'm going to put a little link to this really, really fun YouTube video. It's a comedy guy. His name is Mark Grunger, and it's about men's and women's brains. And it's really funny and very accurate. So I'm going to put that link in the description box for you guys to watch too. If you, along with this book, if you get around to reading it or watching more of John Gray's YouTube videos. But anyway, this one just it really, really helped to understand both points of view, you know, like where are they coming from? Another thing about men that they're so, yeah, here's the point system. There's so more, they don't have too much going on. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but they're simple, you know, it's like they, they're just matter of fact, you know, it's like they have a thought and that's it, and they're, you know, if they answer your question, that's exactly what they mean. What they say is what they mean usually. They don't have all these other things running around their heads. But women are kind of complex. It's multi-layered. One thing attaches to another. One feeling attaches to another, to something else that happened before. And guys don't know all of that stuff. You know, you have to explain the history of your thoughts and feelings to really get it, I guess. So that, so a little bit of understanding and a little bit of open-mindedness and kindness and gentleness on both parts, I think will help a whole lot. Just to acknowledge that we're different and love each other anyway, and be kind and gentle and appreciate each other for who we are. Okay, guys? So I hope you like that little talk on men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Hopefully you get the book. If not, there's tons of great YouTube videos out there on this subject matter. Thank you. And faith, trust, and pixie dust.